The Hotsteppers gang is mostly wanted men from different parts of Jamaica who no longer can hide in their respective communities, so they seek refuge in the hills of Rockfort in East Kingston. George Flash was Tony Brown's hitman and right-hand man after shooting Ted Ogilvy to death in 1977 in broad daylight in his home in Havendale, St. Andrew over misappropriation of contract money. George Flash was placed on Jamaica's most wanted list. Tego alias Tony Brown was not a born original PNP. He was from Southside in Kingston. He later turned friend with George Flash in the General Penitentiary in Kingston. After leaving the General Penitentiary, they link up with a wanted man named Copper. A policeman named Trinity described Copper as the baddest gunman he ever traded bullet with. Every gunman is afraid of Trinity because he went to every ghetto to capture gunmen and always bring them in alive. After the PNP lost the general elections in 1980, they were placed on the most wanted list. They later were migrated to Cuba. After the PNP gained back power in the 1989 elections, people were now seeing Tony Brown and George Flash once again in East Kingston and other parts of Jamaica. Under a PNP government, they were advised to turn themselves in. They were tried by the court system and were both set free. Now as free men, Tony Brown was now been crowned as Dons of all Dons. Dons from all over Jamaica like Skeng Don and Dudis Danhai Williams and Tisha Miller came to greet him. Tony Brown now started to receive many government contracts under the ruling PNP. In East Kingston, Tony Brown received most of the government contracts. It was rumored that Tony Brown was robbed of a payroll at the Rockfort Power Barge, in which he later went to the Rockfort police station to report the robbery. He was told by the police that they cannot help him because he was the baddest man in East Kingston. The police was baffled because Tony Brown was the law and he set the order in Rockfort community and its environs. Tego was the judge and jury in Rockfort. If any man rob, rape or commit any crimes in the area space, they will be tried and dealt with according to the degree of the crime committed. Many men were killed by his gang, then later dumped in the bottomless pits in the Rockfort Hills. Many families were frustrated with Tony Brown's actions towards their loved ones, so they form an alliance against Tony Brown and his Oliver Road gang in the Rockfort Hills. In 1998, a bloody war was fought in the Rockfort community in which over 300 persons was slain, in which most was Tony Brown gang members. Many Step members ran away from the community. Tony Brown and George Flash friendship was already ended and they were not keeping good health. George Flash later died of natural causes, and later Tony Brown was held hostage in his home by other gangs in the Rockfort community. Tony Brown was now fretful and later died of natural causes. Enough respect to Desi Mendez and all Step clans. Here is a short history on the life of George Flash. 3 years ago, Assistant Commissioner of Police Keith Trinity Gardiner has said he was traveling through Rockfort in East Kingston when became upon a roadblock. He remembered getting a surprise when he got out of his car to investigate. This Syrian-looking man came up to me and shook my hand. Trinity Gardiner recalled. He George Flash said, "What happened, Soup? You don't remember me?" Trinity answer. Boniro and George Flash said yes. Boniro is George Flash's street name. He was the enforcer for the gang. George Flash and Tony Brown was comrades in arms and always stay together at all times. They are both educated men. Flash is said to be a past student of Ardennes High School and a past worker at Jamaica Railway Corporation and Jamaica Telephone Company, with an ambition of becoming a mechanical engineer. These dreams were dashed after becoming a bank robber. He was caught robbing a bank in Halfway Tree and was sentenced in 1971. He spent 7 years in prison. An original member, Nemez Dennis Copperbart, who was described as a serial killer, was killed by the police while trying to rob Kimanas Park in May 1978. Other members of the Hotsteppers include Massip and Shava.